Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classic, Less Known Classics. This is episode number 1964 and Doubleshot number 1858. Now, these two trades are from Marvel. Now, these feature characters were created by Spider-Man, well, the late Stan Lee. But this first one technically kind of is created by Stan Lee, when the identity, but some of the characters in the book are created by him. But the character herself was created by Frank Miller. We have Daredevil, the Woman Without Fear. This trade collects the titular 3-issue miniseries under this name, which publishes a Dark Reign crossover, and also we include the Elektra 100 issue. Yes, seriously. Which I will talk. Let's talk about this one first. Elektra 100. Now, the story they do give basically kind of an explanation. They show the cover gallery of Elektra 100, where they included, as part of a numbering, the Elektra the Assassin 80-issue limited series. Elektra was again one shot. Elektra Roots of Evil, which is by the way 4 issues. And then we have Elektra Volume 1, which is, I believe, like 19 issues. Yeah, it's like 19 issues. And then we have the second volume, which is 35 issues. Yes, they included all this as part of the numbering. Then they included Elektra, Glimpse, and Echo. This is a 4-issue of the series. And then they also included, as part of the numbering, Elektra the Hand. Yes, Elektra the Hand, which is 4 issues. And then you have the 5-issue limited series Dark Reign Elektra, Shadowland Elektra, the 11-issue third volume of her ongoing series. Then you have the 5 issues of the 4th volume, which is published under Running with Devil stuff going on at the time, which included this book, Daredevil and Punisher, not Punisher, Bullseye, and of course Elektra 100. Now, it doesn't really contain the whole thing of Elektra 100 per se. Not really, no. It does contain like a couple stories in this one. Yes, mostly of Ann Nocenti. Now, you're probably thinking, has Ann Nocenti ever written written Elektra herself? To my knowledge, she actually has never had written Elektra. The only reason why they probably had her, basically because she's probably someone who, the only reason I can think of, because she was a long-running writer. She was the writer of, mainly the big-name writer for Daredevil back in the late 80s. So, they probably included her here, and they're probably thinking, did she write any of the series for Elektra? Elektra Assassin? Nope. That's by Frank Miller. Okay, what about Elektra again? Also Frank Miller. Yeah, and the didn't write any of this. I think one of the volumes was done by Greg Rucka. I believe it was the second volume for the series, yes. As for the Daredevil Woman Without Fear miniseries, which is the tie-in to Devil's Reign. Oh, I do love the fact they include Elektra 100, which makes sense. I mean, this is kind of the way a Daredevil book published, because Marvel had just ended technically the 7th volume for the series, but some of them remembered Shadowland, which is the last known Daredevil type crossover that involved Daredevil stuff that involved other characters. Daredevil publishing at that point in time, and I guess someone realized, oh crap, we just ended Daredevil without having a Daredevil book published. So this is probably the response. They probably figured, okay, Elektra's Daredevil 2, so let's have her give her own mini-series as Daredevil, which this actually does not count for her numbering. And you're thinking, that's strange. And it kind of is. Mostly put, it's basically what a lot of the stuff she was up to off-screen from the main Devil's Reign crossover. Where you see her, a lot of the time, there's flashbacks of her constantly having sex with Matt Murdock. Because these stupid lovey-dovey like Frank Miller introduced her. Now, Daredevil himself, the original Daredevil, Matt Murdock, he, of course, does pop up in this series. He doesn't do very much. Mostly it's all Elektra, focusing on her past. And this is unintentional. Apparently, this book also had... apparently, the ending of this miniseries helps up the current Punisher miniseries published right now. Which is currently, I believe, like the 12th volume Punisher done by Jason Aaron. Yeah, this basically leads into that, where you have Punisher being the lead of the hand. Where, get this, we have Punisher with this new logo. Yes, this is the Punisher way it looks right now. My opinion of the new logo for Punisher, I don't like it. I don't think it represents the Punisher himself. It just represents what he's working for. Because Punisher's always had the skull on his chest for decades. Now, I'm not really sure who went more with it. Now, him joining the hand, that's a very interesting idea. I have no problem with that, but why the heck did he change his freaking logo for? Yeah, that makes some freaking sense. We had used this character named Aki, who had passed with Elektra. Basically, she was recruited to hand at some point. Now, as for the Elektra 100, that one, aside from mentioning, 100 issues of Elektra, this had a few different stories, this one. Like, the opening story, which is done by Ann Vicente, is, simply put this, Elektra versus Typhoid Mary, another one of many Daredevil's many lovers had over the years. Though, for some reason, they have Elektra wearing a black ninja attire. Instead of traditional red that wearing, it's all black. Which, it's like the artist of this short story, Sig Houghton, went for more of the, not the ultimate version of Elektra. It's like they took the color scheme from the one that appeared on the Daredevil Netflix show and gave it to her. But Typhoid Mary, oh boy, they drastically alter her look here, where she's wearing less clothes than usual, and her hair is completely different. Yeah, let's put her hair in basically multi-pigtail for some strange reason. Oh yeah, and have Willis Fest at one point basically pulling her hair, which she apparently she's never had a problem with him hitting her. Yeah. But I do gotta admit, the story itself was fine, just I'm not really a big fan of the redesign for Typhoid Mary. And then we have guest appearance by Thor. Well, Thor, Storm. It basically was other stuff. Typhoid Mary walks off and that's. And then we have Walt, which is basically Duncan Selvey. Which you might be thinking, had this guy wrote Elektra before? No. It's like, if you're going to do his Elektra 100, like, here's the dumb thing about this particular one-shot. Frank Miller does not write a story for this thing. You're thinking, really? Frank Miller does not write a story for Elektra? A character he created? Yeah, it's a weird thing. Walt is basically kind of, a Daredevil Elektra story. That's simply that we have this joke story of the Elektra company as not to the Elektra company, just doing a Saturday morning 60s stuff, which is fine. I thought it was kind of funny. But yeah, the only thing I found disappointing about this one is that we have none of the previous writers who wrote Elektra over the years. Nobody. Just throwing Ann Vicente and this other guy, Duncan Summit, basically have them write. Ann Vicente, I get because she wrote Daredevil, but Elektra, no. Like, if you're going to have an issue about this, why not, I don't know, contact Frank Miller about this particular issue. Excuse me. Maybe there's not much trust with him. I'm not really sure. I'm sure he would jump at a chance to write an Elektra story. It's his character. He created her. So, why not him? Or, I don't know. How about Greg Rucka? Or Willie H. Blackman? Any of these writers? Nope. Let's have a writer who has nothing to do with the character at all write it. Oh, by the way, the Daredevil Woman Not Fear miniseries is written by Chip Zdarsky. And this actually was two things he worked on for Devil's Reign. He also worked on the main crossover itself. Now, this book is really good. I give this book a 9 out of 10. It's good. And with this, basically, I have roughly one more trade left for Devil's Reign's review. You're thinking, really? What's up the review? I mean, you pretty much reviewed everything for the whole crossover. What is that to review? Villains for Hire. No, seriously, that's all that's left. That one trade. And once we have that one trade, then I'll be done with Devil's Reign. Alright, next up is something else also came out recently. And this is something that's very controversial right now. Not the character himself, just this run is so controversial right now. Given the fact that it doesn't feel like, for a lot of people, they don't like this run at all. There's a lot of rant and raving about it. According to the writer himself, what he told me at Comic-Con, because I asked him just after this run started, he told me he did receive some minor death threats over the first issue. What book is it? Making my thing here. Thank you. It is The Amazing Spider-Man by Zeb Wells, Volume 1. World Without Love. Yes. This contains the first... Oh, it's Webbs and Jarmian Jr. Yes, Jarmian Jr. is back on the artwork for the series. Why? Don't know why. By the way, do you know it's been, like, prior to this one started this year, it's been 15 freaking years. 15 years since we actually had Jarmian Jr. doing any issues of this series. The last time was New Ways to Die. The storyline that basically debuted Anti-Venom, the original one, when it was Eddie Brock. That's where basically was the last time officially he ever did anything for Amazing Spider-Man. After that, he just basically did other books. He did books like World War Hulk, he had one for Avengers, with Bendis, basically the book he did the first like 12 issues. Trying to think here. I know he did work on some Black Panther around the same period of time. That was before that. But I can't think of anything else to do for Marvel after that. For DC, he mostly worked on Superman, Action Comics, and All-Star Batman. And that was it. Now, a new era of Amazing Spider-Man begins. Yes, an era that, when this run was first announced... Now, I get the reason why they restarted the book. And this is just my honest opinion anyways. I'm sure Zeb Wells himself would agree with me on this. He's the writer of this book. That the Beyond stuff, there's having some aspect would be quite interesting. I don't think the storyline itself was doing well financially. That it was a difficult idea to keep numbering going when the Spencer wrote the book. That's perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. It's just that, well, some of the storytelling was not that good. I mean, I like the stuff with the Beyond Corporation, though that was kind of funny. The main aspect about the storyline that I did not like at all, I thought was really kind of dumb, was the stuff involving Peter Parker himself, where he was written to be somebody who just didn't want to be Spider-Man for stupid reasons. Like, it had a good start to it, just that the middle portion for that particular part was not very good. This of Ben Reilly was fine. I love this of Ben Reilly. And it's interesting to note the fact we include Morbius in the storyline. And after the storyline wrapped up, he has seen some at least Black Cat since then. Yes. And sadly enough, during the course of the storyline, we saw the cancellation of the Black Cat series. This book is kind of like Spider-Man back to basics at some point. Now, apparently, we open up with Spider-Man basically seeing the destruction of a town in Pennsylvania, of all places. And then he's gone for 6 months. Yeah, gone for 6 months. No explanation for this at all. Yeah, apparently for some reason we have to have a time skip from Amazing Spider-Man. Everything else in present day, but not Spider-Man. Oh, God forbid we have Spider-Man in present day, 6 months in the future for reasons. Well, apparently everybody hates him. I remember the solicit for this thing. Well, like, everybody hates him except for Dr. Octopus. And here's a strange thing. He did show up to issue 5. Now, one of the things he does in the first issue is he tries to call Mary Jane. Mary Jane doesn't want to talk to him. For no reason. Yeah, there is no explanation for this at all. No. Oh, and by the way, we also have a good nod to Dan Slott's run for Fantastic Four. We have basically where he's necking along with his aunt, though this particular plot is resolved by the end of this story arc. In the case of, there's also Debt Collector, which that's resolved pretty quickly thanks to, get this, Peter Parker taking a job with Norman Osborn. Yes, seriously. It also runs into Randy Robinson, who he's planning to engage to Janice Rand. Janice, who is the female Beetle, aka the daughter of Lenny Thompson Lincoln. Tombstone. Yep. he wants to basically ask his father permission for his hand in marriage. And then we see Tombstone. He's meeting with, looks like Diamondback, who basically is back to the design from the 70s for some reason. Hammerhead. I don't know who the guy with the beard is. Looks like Mr. Negative. The woman from the Luke Cage book, White Rabbit, who apparently is working for Tombstone. The Rose. And then we have Return of somebody that I pointed out this to Zeb Wells. Why the heck did you bring back this guy for? Frickin' Digger! A guy who was last seen have a building drop on him. Back during the JMS run. Now, this could have been John Romita Jr.'s idea to bring back this guy. That's my possibility. He never gave me an answer. Why the heck you brought back Digger? I remember this guy really well. Like, he was around for one story arc during the JMS run. I believe this was just before, you read the original trades, like the new printing books. I like those better. Where I believe he showed up, I think it was just prior to 9/11 happening. Excuse me, I think his was like the second or third story arc of that run. It was basically John Romita Jr. Doing the artwork. And there was this, now basically the story behind him is that a gangster ordered the killing about 40 gangsters, and they put it like in this mass grave, and in game radiation turned them into this. And apparently Digger is now working as Tombstone's hitman. Or at least this is enforcer. Now, any person who has read Amazing Experiment realized, though, this... Oh, yeah, by the way, keep saying, oh, yeah, there was a green door. Now, I didn't discuss that with Zeb Wells. It's like Zeb Wells was referencing the Al Ewing Hulk run. Well, they got to bring up the green door stuff. Yeah, that was a big thing during Al Ewing's run. So maybe Zeb Wells basically liked that aspect and just used that to bring back Digger. Yep. So yeah, then of course Peter goes outside and runs a Human Torch, who is stuck in this particular form. Yeah, great nod, and I love the fact they mentioned, it happened in Fantastic 434 during the dance. Currently he's perfectly fine. It got resolved, I believe, just prior to Reckoning War. They resolved this particular. I think it was at the very start of Reckoning War. They actually resolved this plot related to Johnny Storm. And he said that apparently Peter stole something Fantastic Four. What it was, don't know. And then we have Randy talking to Tombstone, being polite and basically asking for her hand in marriage. And he's like, I like your permission to ask your daughter for marriage. And he says in response, when I came up, it doesn't matter who you asked for. No one gave you nothing, so you didn't ask. So you took what you wanted and found out you were strong enough to keep it. How about you do what you want? If I'm really quick. Hey, lighten up, kid. We both know Janice is going to do whatever she wants. Anyways. It was there I would have broken your back just for asking, kid. But now, I don't know. I guess it feels to feel enough. Plus, I don't want to go your dad's bad side, you know. When he stabbed me once with a pitchfork. Ricky, bring me the Bob Conic. I'm going to tell the kid a story. And then we see Peter drive off, and he rides on top of a frickin' limo. Yes, basically rides on top of a car, just lies there. Yes, he frickin' lies on top of a car. So apparently that we see a goblin glider. Where the heck they got this? Apparently the Rose is pushing a new product. What the heck it is? It could be a new drug, possibly, but they don't really know. It's always brought up in here he does not have territory. Well, there was a good reason for that. He's been freaking dead. He got killed by his mother during the Bendis run of Daredevil. Like, Digger. And then, of course, Digger pops up with the car. Yeah. Like, our fingers. You're tricking me. So, the Rose says, you killed us last time. No, your war not melts to distinction. I can't remember Billy jumping on him. Yes, but at least I remember Digger. If I saw the webs up white rabbits. He does this a couple times in here where he webs a white rabbit as a joke. It's just so funny. Now, I found it to be quite hilarious. And then we have Peter contacting MJ. And of course, then we have, well, Tombstone talking to somebody. And then apparently it looks like his apartment blows up. Like some apartment does. And we see like everyone reacts to it. Lots of escalator. And then we have Tombstone talking to Peter Parker. Now, which I think the reason why he's constantly because basically Peter's associated with Spider-Man. Not the fact he knows he's Spider-Man. And then comes possibly the dumbest thing of this whole book. Where this character got literally traced online or he was some political activist. This guy right here, who apparently is some political activist that apparently was made to be Mary Jane's husband. And apparently Mary Jane's got kids no one knew about. Yeah, and from what I can tell, talking to Zeb Wells, he got a lot of flack online for this. Because this is bullcrap. Why the heck would you have this happen? Oh, by the way, here's issue 2. That's the only appearance you see of Mary Jane Watson. Yeah, my friend Tiffany did a whole rant video about this. The fact that you clearly teased Mary Jane Watson the freaking cover. Doesn't show in the handbook at all. Nope, the whole second issue is simply Peter working with MJ, working with Norman first stays to become babysitter. I believe currently he works as a scientist for Norman Osborn. So, then apparently, Tombstone tells his daughter to stay out of the war. Because, just, and he's ugly, and then apparently he's pulling his own teeth for some reason. And then we have Spider-Man basically running up at the warehouse. And we have White Rabbit again. And rides off, and of course runs into Tombstone. Gets a fight with him. They have more of this stupid guy. I'm sure a lot of readers are basically just raised middle finger to this guy for daring to steal away Mary Jane Watson from Peter Parker. I'm sure Zeb Wells is probably called out for this. Yeah. And then we have Spider-Man being captured by Tombstone and supposedly tortured. Well, actually, he's more crappy at by him. And then we have apparently where Janice and Randy gotta continue to hook you up. Apparently, yeah, and of course Janice basically proposes to Randy, and he says yes. Good answer. Now I really gotta hold that. It's ringing. He's not answering. Yeah, that's because it's beating up frickin' Spider-Man. Then we have flashback to Tombstone's childhood, and then we have this bearded guy. I'm not sure who the heck he is. Supposed to like learn the lesson. Then we have Mary Jane meet up with Felicia Hardy, which is always so nice to see her. Yep. More White Rabbit takes Robbie Robinson, Randy's father, going to meet with Tombstone. And like, oh, is it going to hurt him again? Nope. They literally, perfectly fine. Breaks to a vault and, think something bad might happen. Yep. And then we finally come back to Randy and Tombstone, and they're just Robbie Tombstone. Perfectly fine. Yep. They agree to bury the hatchet because their kids are in love with each other. Yep. I'm like, okay, interesting. You want to share good news. Formerly use the phone next thing you know, Alonso. I guess. No harm, Dad. Relax, you don't do it anymore. Yep. So yeah, Randy Robinson is gonna be soon to be the son-in-law of Janice Lincoln. Yep. Then we see White Rabbit moves on Crime Master. By the way, not the original Crime Master. This actually is the 4th Crime Master. Yes, I say the 4th one because the first 2 are father and son. The first one's deceased, second one's in jail. The third one was Betty Brant's brother. And this is the fourth one. This was actually one that Roger Kingsley hired. If so, Roger Kingsley happened later. We see Peter get beat up. And then, of course, well, then we have basically Felicia Hardy basically just get along with perfectly fine. It's almost like Zeb Wells pushing a relationship between him and Black Cat over with Mary Jane Watson. And then, of course, we have Digger basically getting found out by, of course, well, then we have Tombstone just agreeing with, well, Spider-Man for something. And then we have the buried hatch dream between Aunt May and Peter. And I am not a fan of how he draws Aunt May. Yeah, it's like gives her way too big of a mouth. Like, what the heck? And then we end with Dr. Octopus. Yeah. That's your first trade for you for Zeb Wells' run Amazing Spider-Man. And I've heard some people say the book should be relaunched and get Zeb Wells off the book. I've heard a lot of people have been telling him, just get off the damn book. Your run is terrible. I did like the recent issue where they talk about Roger Kingsley. That was fine. I did like some aspects of this thing, like the stuff with Tombstone. I thought that was a really cool concept, making Tombstone a primary character in Amazing Spider-Man. First time in decades he actually has been. The whole thing with Randy and the female Beetle basically become a couple. This sort of continuing from the previous run, Nick Spencer, which I thought was really nice. But aside from that stuff, the whole thing with Mary Jane with this guy, like, wow, this was a terrible idea. Now, I do think it was funny, the whole thing webbing up White Rabbit. I thought it was kind of funny. Oh yeah, thwap, thwap. Yeah, I like the fact even... Yeah, it's basically the sound effect of Peter's webbing. I thought it was kind of funny. I like the fact that we also got some humor for Spider-Man, but the whole thing with that opening issue. Yeah, no wonder people don't like this run very much. Look at this book. I want to be fair to it. Look at 8.5 out of 10. Yep. But yeah, that's a particular view. I don't have time to do the great job with the feed. I probably won't be doing at this point. I probably get time to do it tomorrow at this point. Okay? See you. Bye.